It's round 6 of the 2006 Superside FIM Sidecar World Championship. 1 week after the wet Salzburg ring, we're across a couple of borders and down into Croatia, just outside the town of Rijeka. Well, there were lots of local dignitaries on hand to perform the opening ceremony for this Croatian Sidecar Grand Prix. The Croatian flag there being waved to signify the start of the event. Coming into this round, Tim and Tristan Reeves, a healthy lead in the World Championship over Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen, with Pekka Pivarinta and Timo Kardiala there in third position. Straight into the action here at the Rijeka circuit. 2.59 miles per lap. Lap record of 100.8 miles an hour set last year. Well, the Rijeka round saw a return of the match races for the second time this year. 4 sets of 3-lap heats based on your qualifying positions. These were the lower end qualifiers. Number 24, Slovenian Milan Spendel, with a lot of local support here just across the border, but he was in a bit of trouble. And allowing number 97, Michael and Bernd Grabmüller, the Austrians, to take victory in the first heat. Heat number 2, some surprises further down the qualifying here. Number 84, Andy Laidlow, down in that pack, so he qualified outside the top 12, and it was number 22, Martin and Tony Van Gils, that led them around. Number 99, Dan Morrissey and Robert Biggs in there as well, as was number 9, Thomas Fuchel, and number 46, Stuart Woodard. But it was number 84, Andy Laidlow, that took the win from Ben and Tom Birchall. Well, as the teams watched the rest of the heats, this was heat 3. This was the qualifiers 7th to 12th place. And it was number 55, Mike Roscher and Adolf Haney, that led them around. Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton on the 66 machine at the back there, quickly making their way through. But number 11, Jos Moser, winner of heat number 3. This was the fast boys, top 6 in qualifying. Number 88, Tero Manninen, on pole position, but got a bad start. Tim and Tristan Reeves out in front. Gary and Dan Knight and Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell on the lockside machine, bringing up the rear with a problem. So that put them out of the first round of this Croatian event. And remember, it's the winners of these heats that go forward to the semi-finals, and then they're joined by the next fastest finishers. Number 77, winner of heat 4. First of the match race semi-finals, number 84, Andy Laidlow there. You just saw number 97, Bernd and Mike Grabmüller. And there are the 2 immaculate Haney racing machines on the front row. So this first semi-final, number 5, Bill Philp and Rick Long out in front at the moment. The winner of this will go through to the final automatically, as will the winner of the second semi-final, and then the 4 fastest losers will join them, and that will give us our top 6 for the match race final. But it was Roscher and Haney that won the first of the semi-finals. Semi-final number 2, the fast boys again. Number 77, Tim and Tristan Reeves. Number 91, Sebastian Delanoy in there as well. And it was Tim and Tristan Reeves that led on the opening lap. Tero Manninen, a better start this time, up into second position. The winner automatically through to the final. The rest have to make sure their race time is quick enough to be in that fastest 4 losers. But it was number 77, Tim and Tristan Reeves, that made no doubt about his place in the final. Well, 3 laps for the final. Short, sharp shock treatment, but heavy rain as the competitors came onto the grid, and there was a delayed start to allow the teams to discuss their tyre choice. A wet going on the rear of Tim's machine. And a slick going onto the rear of Tim Reeves' machine. Pekka Pivarinta opting for intermediates, and some of the others on wet tyres. So eventually we got underway for this 3-lap final. Tim and Tristan Reeves with that slick getting swamped at the start, so no grip off the start line. We're on board with Tero Manninen, and that's Reeves running into the back of Pekka Pivarinta, very lucky to stay on track there. Peverinter right up behind his teammate Mannanen, who's leading. Not sure what tyre choice Mannanen had on this one, whether it's intermediate or wet, but the track very, very damp. But an odd surface here in Rijeka. It's very grippy even in the wet, so we'll have to see how this one pans out. Mike Rocher and Adolf Honey there. We're on board with Sebastian Delanoy and Remy Guinard. And that's Tim Reeves just pushing Bill Philp, I think that was, out wide, forcing his way through. So a lot of wheel spin off the line for Tim and Tristan Reeves, but now they're underway getting some heat into that slick tyre, and it doesn't seem to be hampering their progress at the moment. Reeves now on the tail of Tero Mannanen, pushing his way past Mannanen as well. So, well, halfway around the first lap, and Tim Reeves making his presence felt. Now going for the lead despite that slick tyre. Tero Mannanen and Pekka Koismanen there sitting in third position, and we're on board with Mannanen into turn one. And, well, that looks like an off for Mannanen. Crash for Tero Mannanen brings out the red flag. And there's the damage to Tim and Tristan's machine as we get ready for the restart of this match race final. Gap there on the middle of the front row where Mannanen should have been. Well, that's disappointing for the Finnish rider who's currently lying second in the series. He's out of this one, although with the rules of the match races, he will still collect 10 points for sixth position. Tim and Tristan Reeves out front, Bill Philp and Rick Long getting a big slide on through that left-hander, but it was Tim Reeves that took the 25 points and victory. Delanoy snatching third. So 25 points for Tim and Tristan Reeves, Peverinter second, Delanoy third, Philp and Long fourth, Rocher fifth, Mannanen took that sixth. The rest of the top 10 there from the heat races. So a nice set of silverware there for Tim and Tristan Reeves. And a smiling Delanoy and Guinard on the right.
So as we join Tim Reeves on the front row for this sprint race, and Tristan there, the brother, he's the passenger. Dan and Gary Knight promoted to the front row.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard one, isn't it, as well, especially with Tim and Peverinter next to us. So hopefully if we can get away with the front group, keep with them, to try for that podium.
We had got another 10 kilos on there, and it was a bit harder to muscle around this morning in warm-up. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. I think it's just going to make it harder on the brakes and tyres, but we'll be all right. We'll have a go anyway.
Well, nothing like a bit of glamour on the grid. And Moser there standing beside her. I'm not sure who she is.
So 10 laps for this sprint race as we get underway, and it looks like Pekka Peverinter and Sebastian Delanoy got the best starts there as they head off into this tight turn one.
Well, Sunday and the weather much improved on Saturday, and the racing certainly, we're on for some exciting stuff here. Steve Norbury, Scott Parnell are on board with the two Brits as they get into this tight circuit. It's got a fantastic amount of grip despite the weather conditions on Saturday. It's all dried out on Sunday, and I think we're in for some great stuff here today, Ian.
Well, Sebastian Delanoy just locking up the sidecar wheel into that left-hand hairpin as the rest of the pack scream through. Dan Morrissey and Rob Biggs going around the outside of Stuart Woodard there. But it's Pekka Peverinter and Timo Kartiala that are leading at the moment. Tim and Tristan Reeves got through turn one in second position, with Sebastian Delanoy, big slide there from Delanoy, and Jos Moser moving up through the field. Mike Rocher and Adolf Harney there in ninth position on this opening lap.
Of course, we are minus the outfit of Tero Mannanen, crashed out on Saturday, and the passenger injured and not taking part any further in this championship round.
Yeah, that's a big blow for their championship chances, and it does allow Tim and Tristan Reeves some breathing space, and they need a couple of good results here in this sprint race and the main race coming up later on. But at the moment, Tim and Tristan Reeves in second position, Steve Norbury going well there in fourth position, and the passengers having to work hard through these bumps. Tim and Tristan Reeves now closing up on the back of Pekka Peverinter and Timo Kartiala. That immaculate Eastern Airways machine doesn't miss a beat, does it? On board with Peverinter as we come through this sweeper section, top end of the Rijeka circuit, down the hill now into this very fast left-hand bend, and then the series of S's as they wind their way back up the hill.
Well, considered to be one of the grippiest circuits on the tour. They're certainly moving around at the moment as they push these tyres and, of course, knock the cones off the side of the track. They've been spending all day putting those back.
Well, at least it keeps the marshals fit.
That's true.
And that's Tim and Tristan Reeves on the grass. Tim and Tristan Reeves were on the grass, and that's flat out in 5th gear at the top of that hill, about 130 miles an hour. Not where you really want to be, Tim.
Well, that's cost them a place, and maybe they're taking up motocross sidecar racing, I'm not sure, but Tim coming from Maidstone in Kent, and there's a pretty hot bed of motocross sidecar racing down there as well as road racing, but at the moment they're back in 3rd and they're going to have to get past the French pairing.
Tim and Tristan Reeves all over the back of Sebastian Delanoy, looking for a way through, and here it comes. Well, Delanoy really did leave the door open for him there, didn't he, Kenny?
I've got a feeling he may well have moved over. He realised who it was that was behind him, and knows he really knows those cones again. I don't suppose they stayed upright for very long.
Yeah, I think your comment about Delanoy moving over, if you look at the match race final where Tim barged his way through about 3 people on the opening lap, I'm not surprised.
Well, you don't become a world champion by totally graciousness, behaviour and good humour to all other drivers. It's a question of putting your head down and go for it.
Yeah, for sure, and Tim and Tristan Reeves do that. There's Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell in 3rd position, Jos Moser and Ule Waffler up to 4th position.
Well, the battle is now on for the lead. Here comes the 2 Reeves brothers on the 77 Eastern Airways outfit going for that lead, and they've made it clean straight through. So we're on board now with Pavarinta, and you can see the current world champion there in front as young Tim, the younger of the 2 brothers, works hard there in the sidecar to ensure that there's maximum grip down into that back tyre.
Yeah, Tristan over the back tyre, put his weight down and move across to the left to keep the sidecar wheel down on this hairpin bend. A little bit wide there from Tim, but he'll just nail that, spin the back up, get it back on target.
Well, these tyres being made to work really hard on this ultra grippy circuit here in Croatia, Rijeka, the circuit, and just 1 visit per year to this circuit. And Tim there really is laying the power down as Pavarinta stays in touch with him. And young Tristan having to work right to left. You can see the back of the outfit sliding out as he lays the power back down again. And, well, he's not dropped Pavarinta, and there goes those. I noticed they've actually put string around those cones now.
Well, otherwise they'd be chasing him in the next field, wouldn't they?
Probably right, or chasing him around the nose cone of a fairings.
Well, Pavarinta in the slipstream of Tim and Tristan Reeves, but not able to brake late enough into this hairpin bend at the end of that fast back straight. Reeves slide in the back of that LCR Suzuki through this series of left-handers.
Well, you can see how close the backside of Tristan gets, but here they come. This is the challenge for the checkered flag. It's going to go to the 2 Reeves brothers. Pavarinta finishing 2nd, and he looks pretty happy about that.
Yeah, Delanoy 3rd, Jos Moser in 4th position, Norbury a good 5th, and Stuart Muldoon got up to 6th position.
Another 25 points towards that championship. Tim and Tristan Reeves, how did they feel about that race?
We were so close to Pekka up over the hill that I just clipped the curb on the inside, and to be honest with you, I needed a change of underwear. It shot straight on the grass the other side, and I couldn't, if I'd shut it off, it would have tipped over that doubt. I just had to keep it pinned.
Pekka Pavarinta explaining that he's quite happy with 2nd position, very pleased to be racing in close company with Tim and Tristan Reeves, and they'll wait for the gold race. Highlights coming up. So it's time for the main event here at the Croatian Sidecar Grand Prix. Stuart Muldoon's brought his family along, but one team missing from the grid, the number 88 machine of Tero Manninen and Pekka Koismanen, due to their crash in the opening match races. How are they feeling?
Yeah, I'm not feeling good, but now we have to fight for the 2nd place. It's hard, but we try.
I have some legitimate problems and maybe some broken muscles, and that feels real bad, and I can't even walk properly.
Well, disappointment for Manninen and Koismanen there, but their demise does leave the way open for Tim and Tristan to win the World Championship here. Any pressure?
If I had to win, it would be pressure, but I've only got to finish in the top 3, I think, so hopefully if the old girl keeps going, we'll be all right. No, we won't be doing anything silly, put it that way.
Well, let's hope he doesn't. Here we go, the gold race, the big one of the day gets underway. Who's going to get the main start? Looks like Reeves has got a good start, but is that Delanoy up the outside? Yes, it is. Who's going to make the first corner? We're on board with Pavarinta once again.
Yeah, Pavarenta got swamped at the start there and finds himself down in, fifth position perhaps. With Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell ahead of us. Tim and Tristan Reeves just ahead of Norbury in third position. And out front, that looks like the red machine of Sebastian Delanoy and Remy Guinard. On board with Steve Norbury as Pekka Pavarenta makes a dive up the inside. So Pavarenta not wanting to waste any time in chasing after Tim and Tristan Reeves. Doesn't want to make this easy for them.
Well, Reevesy, third place at the moment. I'm sure he's not going to stay there for long because he doesn't normally, although carrying a little bit of excess weight now. But that is, you're right, the French pairing of Delanoy there in the lead. He got a great start. We're back on board Pavarenta again, and we can see Tim Reeves there just in front in that third position, chasing the two out front as our onboard camera bounces on and off the curbs here.
Yeah, and that looks like Jos Moser and Ole Waffler in second position, the Austrian-Swiss pairing. Moser must have got a great start from the third row of the grid. And it is indeed Moser in second position, chasing Sebastian Delanoy.
And here they come down the start and finish straight once again. Reevesy looks to make a play up the inside, and that outfit of his just appears to be a tad quicker than Moser's outfit, and they've gone through to second place.
Yeah, Jos Moser using the Honda Fireblade CBRR engine, the only one in the World Championship, and it's proving to be quite formidable. Good result on the podium at Salzburgring, but that Suzuki of Tim and Tristan Reeves just powering past down the straight there.
Yeah, those 1000cc Suzukis do seem to be slightly a cut above everybody else when it comes to ultimate straightforward horsepower, but that Honda still showing well, being the only one in the championship, as you said.
Back on board with Pavarenta, and Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell have found their way back past the Finnish riders. Good ride here from Norbury and Parnell. They like this Rijeka circuit, and they're running the Windle chassis rather than the Swiss-built LCRs of the majority of the competitors, so maybe the Windle very well suited to the bumps and cones.
Well, Scott Parnell now fully recovered from that hand injury he picked up last year at Brands Hatch when he almost lost his fingers.
Yeah, kept him out of most of the season, returning just for the final race in. Pavarenta looking up the inside and through up into fourth position behind Jos Moser and Ole Waffler. So the Finns chasing the Austrians, and we're back with Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell with Pavarenta and Moser just ahead of us. Onto the start-finish straight. Who's got the horsepower? Well, we look to be gaining on that Honda down this start-finish straight. And there's Pavarenta through, and we're back with Moser, and there's Norbury through as well. So the Honda not quite as quick.
Well, as the race hots up, there's the race leader. That's Delanoy, and Tim and Tristan Reeves sliding out of that corner. Who's going to be there in third place? Well, it's the 40-foot outfit. There is Norbury and that 36 outfit as the rest of the field make their way through.
Yeah, Sebastian Delanoy got a couple of seconds advantage over Tim and Tristan Reeves now. And we're on board with Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell coming down into turn one. And we're off.
Well, that's going to be a biggie. That is a biggie. Parnell thrown out of the chair. Norbury still in the fairing, but he's out. But looks like Scott Parnell is out cold. That was 100 plus miles an hour when they hit that barrier, and the ambulance is going to go down, and let's hope they're both okay, that's for sure. That was a big crash from young Norbury and Scott Parnell.
Yeah, look, on the onboard, just got dragged in onto the curb, and once it was on the curb, it's all over, and there were oh dear, Scott Parnell thrown into the Armco. The bodywork comes off of the machine, luckily for Steve Norbury, but that was a huge accident.
So, restart then, red flag, and we'll do it all over again, minus Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell. Scott been taken off to the hospital for x-rays on his shoulder.
Yeah, initial report, Steve Norbury up and okay, a few bruises. Scott Parnell okay, but possible broken shoulder. So that's good news after the excitement. But back on board with Pekka Pavarenta, and that's Sebastian Delanoy just ahead of us. Close on this opening lap of the restart. A new race, so not on aggregate times. This is a new race, but their grid positions dictated by where they finished part one when that red flag came out.
So you're on board. This is sidecar racing from a driver and passenger's eye view, and you're in there with them at the moment at speeds in excess of 100 mile an hour. This is what it's like to be a sidecar driver or a passenger.
Bit of a weird style from Sebastian Delanoy's passenger there, and I think Pivarinta's gone through. So Pivarinta up to 4th position, and it looks like Tim and Tristan Reeves on the white machine out in front. Indeed it is. And that's Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance in 2nd position, so they found some speed from somewhere.
Well, a good start from the British pairing that became professional sidecar racers last year after selling their house up and moving into their motorhome. And they've had some good results last year, but so far the results have not been as good this year for them.
So Tim and Tristan Reeves heading the field round, Andy Laidlow 2nd, Moser there, and Pekka Pivarinta up to 4th position. So Tim and Tristan Reeves out front at the moment. Remember, they only need to finish in the top 3 to clinch the World Championship, put it out of reach of their pursuers due to Tero Mannonen's incident.
Well, it's a toughie certainly for the Finn. Mannanen was hoping to take the trophy back to Finland this year, but it's been a fight all the way through, and at the moment it's Tim and Tristan Reeves with Pivarinta going past Reeves. He's obviously making a small mistake. They're going wide, but he's fighting back. Well, Reeves doesn't give up that easily. Only has to finish top 3 and the championship will be his.
Yeah, but Tim doesn't know top 3, does he?
No, he doesn't know, and he knows winning. If you talk 2nd, 3rd to him, he just looks blank at you.
But it is Pivarinta now who got the speed down that straight and has taken the lead. Maybe Tim being a little bit cautious. Back on board with Jos Moser, being passed by Gary and Dan Knight. So the Redline Superbikes team moving up a position, and now we're on board with Gary and Dan Knight looking back at Moser.
And the bad news is the weather is beginning to close in. There's some big black storm clouds. In fact, there is a storm going on just about the east of us, and it's heading our way, so hopefully that's going to stay off until the end of this race. But there is Tim and Tristan, they're in 2nd. Pivarinta leads on the 44 outfit. Now I think Tim is actually saving his tyres a little bit. It's going to be a race of heavy tyre wear because of the grippiness of this track, and I think he might just be saving his tyres.
Well, it definitely looks like Tim has settled for 2nd position now. Pivarinta stretching that gap. Now that's about a 3-second advantage as they come into the closing stages of this race. Pivarinta not letting up, just sliding around through this S's section. Back on board with Gary and Dan Knight, Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance there in close company as we come up through the S's, up over the top of the hill, flat out in 5th gear, coming up to the back straight. Just see the sidecar wheels going light as they crest the rise there. And now this is 150 miles an hour, breaking into this hairpin at the end of the lap.
Well, here they come. We're back with the leading group as they come onto the start and finish straight, and Pivarinta's got a problem because here's Reeves around the outside of him, so Pivarinta, some kind of mechanical problem there, and Reeves, he went past him right on the line, and those rain clouds are growing ever closer, but it doesn't matter now because you're looking at, I think now, Ian, the new world champions.
Yeah, they've just put themselves out of reach of Pekka Pivarinta and Tero Mannanen, their closest challengers. The celebrations there, they know they've won the World Championship for the 2nd time. Here comes that storm, but it's not enough to dampen the enthusiasm of Tim and Tristan Reeves. Number 1 on the machine already.
Yeah, lights up the back tyre, doesn't care about it now. There's the Union Jack, but Reeves it is, 25 points, and Pivarinta with 20, Delanoy in 3rd.
Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance, a good 4th position ahead of Gary and Dan Knight. And there are the 2006 world champions.
It's champagne down your neck and champagne everywhere else, but it looks like they're just going to share it between the two of them.
So I dug deep on the last lap, and I think, to be fair, Pekka may have had a small problem with his front tyre, but we just saved the rear because it was so hard on rear tyres, and then on the last 2 laps I just pulled my finger out and it paid off, and yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Well, as the riders attended the press conference at Rijeka, the standings of the championship after 6 rounds, Tim Tristan Reeves an unassailable lead now with 8 wins ahead of Pekka Pivarinta moving to 2nd position, Mannanen dropping down to 3rd. In the team standings, the battle's still on between Team Suzuki Finland and the Eastern Airways squad.
Well, as the Croatian girls bid us farewell, the next round goes to Assen. We'll see you there for more Superside racing.